In the world of wrestling, eras are more than just years on a calendar. They're like chapters in a wild, never-ending story. From the gritty days of smoky arenas to the flashy lights of WrestleMania to the chaos of today's WWE, every era changed the game. But here's the crazy part. Each new chapter was born out of a fight for survival. And if you think WWE today is unpredictable, wait until you hear how it all started.
So here's the question. How did WWE go from a small family-run wrestling company to a global entertainment empire? Why did it keep reinventing itself? And what really defines each era? From the Golden Age to the Attitude Era, from the PG years to the streaming age, every shift tells us something about wrestling, about the fans, and about Vince McMahon's obsession with being number one. Let's break down every single WWE era, explained in full, from the very beginning to right now in 2025.
The beginning, the territorial days and the birth of WWE. Before WWE was WWE, wrestling in America was split up into little territories. You had different promoters running their own areas, and wrestlers would travel from city to city to make a living. Back then, wrestling was treated almost like a sport, with small TV shows, grainy footage, and loyal local fans. But one promoter in the Northeast, Vince McMahon Sr., had a bigger vision. He ran the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, later called WWF. His son, Vince Jr., would eventually take things way beyond what anyone thought wrestling could be. Here's the hook. The younger McMahon didn't want to play by the rules. While everyone else stayed in their lane, Vince started buying up talent from all over the country, stealing stars like Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, and Andre the Giant. And that decision would change wrestling forever.
The Golden Era. Hulkamania takes over. 1984 to early 1990s. The Golden Era wasn't just wrestling, it was pop culture. Hulk Hogan was everywhere. Kids wore the yellow and red, parents knew who he was, and WWE became larger than life. This was the era of Saturday morning cartoons, action figures, and the very first WrestleMania in 1985. But here's what made it so big. Vince McMahon turned WWE into entertainment, not just sports. He brought in celebrities like Mr. T, Cyndi Lauper, and even Muhammad Ali. WrestleMania wasn't just a wrestling event, it was a spectacle. By the late 80s, WWE was unstoppable. But as we all know, nothing stays on top forever. Because as Hulkamania started to fade, something darker and edgier was waiting around the corner.
The New Generation Era, 1993 to 1997. This is the era that almost killed WWE, but also gave us some of its greatest wrestlers. After Hogan left, Vince pushed new stars like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and Diesel. The wrestling quality was incredible, but here's the problem. The fans weren't connecting. This was also when WWE got hit hard by scandals, steroid trials, dropping TV ratings, and WCW stealing talent with bigger contracts. While fans today respect the new generation, at the time, it felt like WWE was losing the war. But right when things looked their worst, something unexpected started to happen. The audience wanted something more real, more raw, and WWE was about to answer. The Attitude Era, 1997 to 2002. This is the era fans still can't stop talking about. The Monday Night Wars, WWE versus WCW, Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon, The Rock electrifying millions, The Undertaker and Kane turning wrestling into a horror movie. The Attitude Era was chaos, and that's exactly why it worked. Blood, beer, middle fingers, wild storylines, everything that was shocking on TV at the time, WWE embraced it. Raw became must-see TV every single Monday night. Here's the wild part. If WWE hadn't gone full attitude, WCW probably would have crushed them. But instead, the exact opposite happened. By 2001, WWE had not only won the war, they bought WCW completely. And just when it seemed like the company could never be bigger, the Attitude Era suddenly ended. But why?
The Ruthless Aggression Era, 2002 to 2008. With no WCW left, WWE was alone at the top. That sounds good, right? But the truth is, without competition, they had to reinvent themselves again. Vince called it the Ruthless Aggression Era. This was the rise of brand splits. Raw and SmackDown each had their own rosters, and out of this era came names that would define wrestling for the next 20 years. John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Batista, and Eddie Guerrero. The matches were harder hitting, the stories were more serious, and WWE was still edgy, just in a different way than the Attitude Era. Fans still debate whether this was the last true great era of WWE, but right as it reached its peak, the company made another drastic shift.
The PG Era, 2008 to 2013. This one still splits fans. After years of pushing the envelope, WWE cleaned up its act. No more blood, no more swearing, a family-friendly product. The reason? Sponsors, TV deals, and a focus on younger fans. Stars like John Cena became the face of the company, along with Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, and Sheamus. For kids, this era was magic. For older fans, it felt too safe. But here's the twist. During the PG years, one of the most rebellious voices in wrestling history broke through. CM Punk's pipe bomb promo in 2011 shook WWE to its core, reminding fans that unpredictability wasn't dead.
The Reality Era and the Women's Revolution, 2014 to 2016. By the mid-2010s, fans weren't buying into the PG image anymore. Social media made it impossible to ignore real-life frustrations, so WWE leaned into it. They started calling this the Reality Era. This was when Daniel Bryan's underdog story exploded, when fans hijacked shows demanding new stars. It's also when The Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose took over. And maybe most importantly, the women's division finally got the spotlight. No more divas. Now it was Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Bayley leading a real women's revolution.
The Modern Era, the Streaming Wars, 2016 to 2020. WWE was no longer just a TV show, it was everywhere. The WWE Network launched, streaming old pay-per-views and live shows. At the same time, NXT became a huge deal, producing stars like Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and Asuka. But here's the conflict. While WWE was going global, the weekly shows started feeling repetitive. Roman Reigns was pushed as the next Cena, but fans pushed back hard. For years, the product felt stuck between pleasing kids and hardcore fans.
The Pandemic Era, 2020 to 2021. This one stands alone because it was so surreal. Empty arenas, virtual crowds, WrestleMania in front of 0 fans. Yet somehow, WWE kept going. Drew McIntyre won the world title in silence. The Undertaker wrestled his last match in a cinematic boneyard match. It was weird. It was tough. But it proved WWE could survive anything. The Triple H Era, the game takes over, 2022 to 2025. And that brings us to today. In 2022, Vince McMahon shocked the world by stepping down, and Triple H stepped in to run creative. Overnight, the product felt fresh again. Returns, surprise debuts, longer matches, the fans loved it. By 2025, WWE is thriving.
Stars like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Gunther define the current generation. And with WWE merging under Endeavor alongside UFC, the future feels bigger than ever. But here's the big question. What comes next? Will we see another attitude-like explosion? Or are we entering an entirely new era, one we can't even define yet?